To Indonesia now, which in recent months has seen an increase in the number of migrants arriving on its shores. Rohingya refugees have been fleeing overcrowded camps in Bangladesh. They've been living there for years, having escaped violent persecution in Myanmar. Despite not recognizing them as refugees, Indonesia has provided some temporary shelter. But coastal communities in West Aceh are struggling to cope. And as DW's Ferdinand Himawan reports from Aceh, the mainly Muslim Rohingya refugees are facing increasing hostility from some of their fellow Muslims.
Fisherman Abdul Rauf is happy to have his boat back. He relies on it to make a living and feed his family. He lost it when he and his boat capsized while trying to help Rohingya refugees. Abdul Rauf helped save 6 lives that day, but he says his good deed cost him dearly.
I'm full of regret. I feel betrayed. Only one person was supposed to get on board to call for help, but more and more people clambered on board, and then we capsized. If they'd done what I asked, we wouldn't have got into problems. I am the victim here. I've lost more than 4 months' income.
Fishermen like Abdul Rauf are often the first to spot and help the refugees. But he says he will not help in future. The Rohingyas had been stranded at sea for 3 days, trying to make the dangerous crossing from Bangladesh. Of the 142 people who attempted the crossing in March, Aceh Search and Rescue Team managed to save a further 69. The rest perished at sea. The numbers have been rising. More Rohingya arrived in Indonesia last year than in the previous 4 combined. And opposition to their presence in Aceh is growing too.
I don't accept them because they have their own land, they have their own country. We ourselves in our own land still need attention from our government. Why should we pay attention to people from abroad?
I refuse, because the Rohingyas lack gratitude. For example, when they were given rice, they felt that the rice was not enough for them.
People don't want them to live in the village, so this is where they have ended up, in a temporary shelter in the yard of a government office. Authorities and aid organizations say they want to find them something better. There's a plan to rehouse the Rohingya in empty buildings on the outskirts of town. But this has also been met with opposition from locals. Officials are at a loss.
I personally and the government pray that they will not come to West Aceh again, because frankly we are not ready. And there's the rejection from the community. The community really won't accept more arrivals.
Despite the growing resentment, some Acehnese are helping, providing food, clothes, and other necessities, especially at this time of Ramadan. But aid groups say it will take more than humanitarian gestures. They want further help from the government. With continuing tensions in Myanmar, it's likely that increasing number of Rohingya will seek refuge in Aceh in the future.
Well, for more on this, we can now speak to Ann Maymann. She's the UNHCR's representative in Indonesia. And UNHCR has a protection program in Bangladesh Rohingya camps. Why are so many then feeling compelled to flee to Indonesia?
Good evening, and thank you for asking for the interview and for shedding light on this very tragic situation. Yes, it is correct that we have a presence and an operation in Cox's Bazar in Bangladesh, where we work with several partners and with the authorities. But it's important to keep in mind that I am the UNHCR representative for Indonesia. So my area of responsibility is not Bangladesh. But I can tell why what the refugees are telling us when they arrive in Indonesia. And that is indeed that 2 main reasons. First of all, the Rohingya, they are from Myanmar. They left in 2017, But the Rohingya displacement out of Myanmar is a very long one that have been going on for several decades. And the last displacement we had was in 2017, and we have currently around 1 million refugees in Cox's Bazar. And there is no prospect, unfortunately, for a voluntary return to Myanmar, which
yes,
is
but
what
let me,
the Rohingya
excuse me for
refugees-
interrupting you here, but I would
Yeah.
like to look at the current situation. What steps is the UNHCR, which is your organization, taking to address the violence within the camps?
We work very closely with the authorities and try and address the problems from a protection angle. But I do not have the full details of all our programs. And it's also important to keep in mind UNHCR is a humanitarian agency. We are not an agency that can tackle and address insecurity. We need close support from authorities and from a range of partners, and we are addressing that. But it's not only because of the insecurity that the refugees are leaving, it's also because a lack of opportunities. These camps there is a deterioration of the humanitarian condition. In Cox's Bazar, we have seen a reduction in the assistance because of lack of funding. There are regularly mudslides when there is heavy rain. There are regularly fires that go through the camp. So it's a very precarious situation that the refugees are in. So they are looking like anyone would for an opportunity to live in safety.
Thank you very much, Ann Maymann there, the UNHCR's representative in Indonesia.
Thank you so much.